So we're catching this in the middle. I'm just sharing my story with Trey and Amanda and the team here from Wyoming and Salt Lake and from all around. But I got to the point where I started playing competitive sports, went to college, um, did not go to school to go to college to get good grades. I regret that. But I can tell you that my whole reason for playing college football and going to college was just to play in the National Football League. I'm a dreamer. I'm only 6 feet tall, 5'11" on a really good day, but let's just call it 6 feet.
Mhm.
Sounds a lot cooler. Um, but I dreamed of being an NFL football player. And when I got in college, I was a punter and a wide receiver. I was also a quarterback, but in college, I didn't play quarterback. But I started wide receiver for 3 years. I started punter for all my years in college, and I can kick a ball pretty well. And my senior year, some NFL scouts were following my career, and I ended up finishing what they call being an All-American, which meant I was at the best at my position in the division I was in, and literally had a chance to make it in the NFL. Moved to Las Vegas, Nevada. Didn't care about finishing college. I couldn't care less about the degree that they were trying to give me. You know why? Because I knew I would never do anything with that piece of paper. I believe the D students hire the A students to run their corporations. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but I believe we
Yep.
live in a world where entrepreneurial people that think like me and probably think like you, we maybe weren't the A students, but when you understand entrepreneurship, you go hire the guys that went to Harvard to get a degree to run your company, and then they work for you. And Amanda, you alluded to something earlier. You guys have found yourself in a place where you've made other people richer and richer, right? You've taken I hear we got marketers on this team and we've got some talented people on the team. And what a shame it is to work so hard for somebody else's dream, isn't it? And you work so hard to make other people. My mentor used to say, people work for other people. All they do is make people richer and richer and richer, while they very rarely find themselves in a position to be in a good financial position themselves. One of my other mentors, Jim Rohn, says people work too hard on a living to learn how to make a fortune. Well, luckily from a young age, I was always thinking to myself, I want to be the entrepreneur. I want to be the one that builds a team, that builds a network of people. And I don't have to do all the work myself. I'm certainly going to roll up my sleeves, but I got to be a part of something bigger. I got to be a part of a team that can grow something way bigger than I can grow it on my own. And that's really the definition of entrepreneurship. If you really break down what an entrepreneur is, an entrepreneur creates something or starts something, and he leverages time, energy, and money of other people in order to get where he wants to go. Now, I didn't know anything about network marketing when I was the age of some of you on the screen. Matter of fact, I'll take you guys back. Amanda, I heard you say somebody on the screen here is 18 years old. There's somebody 18? Who's 18? 17 or 18? Trey is? When I was Trey, I got a funny story for you. When I was Trey's age, somebody invited me to a meeting in someone's garage in one of the suburbs of Buffalo, New York. And I went to this meeting and they talked about this long distance telephone company called Excel Communication. I don't know if any of you ever remember the
Mm.
company. And 18 years old, and a guy stood in front of the room. He started drawing circles and he said, "This is you. And you tell a few people about this. And then they tell a few people, and they tell a few people, and you get paid on everyone's monthly bills." And I just looked at it and I go, huh? All I got to do, I was good at talking at 18. I'm sure a lot of you are as well. Rain is probably like, I can talk. Trey's like, I can talk. And I went home and they charged me $250 to start. So listen, I'm 49. I have no idea where the $250 came from. I'm just telling you all, somehow I had $250 to spend on this kit. And I brought this kit home to my mother. I set it on the kitchen table. The next morning, she got up, she made her tea, she smoked her Tarryton long light cigarettes back then. A disgusting habit, smoking cigarettes, by the way. And I said, "Mom," and listen, I was young, I was green, I didn't know anything. "Mom, we're gonna be millionaires." And she goes, "Michael, what are you talking about?" I said, "Mom, we're going to be millionaires. I just got this kit. And what this kit does is gives me the right to go talk to our aunts and my uncles and all our family. And all we got to do is get people to switch their telephone bill, local and long distance, over to this company called Excel. They're going to save money. And we get paid on everyone's phone bill. My mother goes, "Oh no, Michael, you didn't." And I go, "I didn't what?" She goes, "You just got signed up into a pyramid."
Mhm.
And I said, "What's a pyramid?" She said, "Michael, it's illegal. Go return that box and go get your money back." I returned the box. You know, it was about 10 years later that crazy things happened in my life. I signed with the Seattle Seahawks. I got released by the Seattle Seahawks. I featured on the TV show CSI. Have you guys ever heard of this show, CSI? I was in the first season of that. I wanted to be a famous actor, and I took the role of a dead guy in my first job in Hollywood, which meant I didn't come back the next week. If you guys ever want to watch my episode of CSI, it's pretty funny. It was called episode 14, To Have and to Hold. I play a role of a guy by the name of Derek Pine. I don't want to ruin the episode for you. If any of you watch it, text me, get my number after this, and tell me what you thought of my big break in Hollywood. I actually had a record deal. I signed a record deal with a major recording company called Universal Records. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. Believe it or not, I'm a singer. And man, when I was the age of some of you on the screen, all I wanted to do was be famous. I wanted to do something. And I went after everything: sports, music, acting, you name it. And for years, I used to tell people I failed at all three. And today I don't say that anymore. I succeeded at all three. I made it in Hollywood for a minute. I had a record deal. I was 2 weeks away from having my first song hit the radio back then. And if it would have hit, I would have been known as a one-hit wonder boy band type of a guy. And you all probably be laughing at me on the screen like I was Vanilla Ice or something. So I'm glad that never happened.
Hmm.
So I chased my dreams, and I got a chance to taste a little bit of it. And then I got to a point in my life when all those things kind of fell apart. I had what I call, and you can write this in your notes, I had an uh-oh moment. I think a lot of people in life have this moment. It's not an aha moment. You guys have probably heard of an aha moment where, oh, aha, I finally got, no, I had an uh-oh moment. And the uh-oh moment meant, uh-oh, what am I going to do now? You see, I never wanted to be average. I never wanted to conform. I never wanted to make other people rich, wealthy. I always wanted to do something for me and my family and my future. And then I got really, really lucky. And this is an important part of my story for all of you. I got lucky. I got prospected into this profession, which is a crazy profession. And I was 28, 29 years old, I believe at the time. And a guy walked up to me at a local gym and he asked me a couple questions that changed my life forever. He said, first of all, he complimented me when he met me. He said, "I like you." At the time, just so you know, I was a personal trainer. I was always in shape and working out, and 3% body fat. I never knew what body fat was until I got in my 30s. And the guy walked up to me and said, "Man, I like you." And I'm like, well, that was a nice thing for a stranger to say to me. I like you too. And he says to me, he goes, "No, I love what you do with people." He said, "I watch you at the gym, and when you're training your clients, I watch the way you work with them. Like, you really care about people." I said, "Yeah, you're right, I do." He said, "You know how it shows?" I said, "No, I don't know how it shows." He said, 3 months from now, you get these women that come in 30, 40 pounds overweight, and 3 months later, they look like they could be fitness models. He's like, "What you do is really impressive, and I just wanted to let you know that." And I thanked the guy. I said, "Wow, that was really nice to hear." And he said, "Can I ask you a question?" He goes, "Do you love what you do?" And I said, "Yeah." And he asked me twice, and I always tell my story like this. Thank God he asked me twice. He said, "Do you really love what you do?" And I said, "No, I don't." So for the younger people on the screen, eventually I think we get to an age in our lives. It's if you don't make your dreams come true when you're younger, you get to that age where maybe you have an uh-oh moment. You get to a point where you got to work for other people, or you got to do something maybe you don't really love to do. And you start to realize, man, I would give anything to find something that is better than this, or something I could do for myself. And I was at that point where I was looking for something. And he says to me, he goes, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yeah, you can ask me anything." He said, "Would you like to meet a friend of mine who's a multimillionaire?" And I said, "Yeah, I would." He goes, "He's looking to start a new business here in town." I lived in Las Vegas at the time. And he said, "He's looking for guys like you and I that are athletic and hardworking and know the power of teamwork." And that was me. And I think that's all of you. And he said, "Would you like to meet him?" I said, "Yeah, right away. Let's do it." So that night we went to this man's house. Pulled up to his house. He had an 9,000 square foot home. Every house looked like a hotel on the street I was pulling down. We pulled into his driveway. He had a nice car called a Bentley. I don't know if you all know what a Bentley is, but it's a beautiful vehicle. And he had this house that it looked like I was walking into lifestyles of the rich and famous, except this is what happened. I walked into the home of the lifestyles of the rich and not famous. For the first time in my life, at that age, I met people who made lots of money in this business, like what you and I are involved with. And I saw the way their homes looked, the way their energy was, the niceness of these people. And I said, oh my God, I love these people. And after meeting this man and his wife, he said, Michael, if you think I'm successful, wait till you meet my best friend. And I said, who's your best friend? My best friend's name is Richard Call. I said, who's Richard Call? He said, you wouldn't know him because you're not a part of this world, but if you were a part of this world, you'd know him. He said, Richard's the Michael Jordan of this industry. And to make it make sense for you guys, Richard's the LeBron James of this industry. I got a fast advance 20 years from my time. And he said to me, if you'd like to meet him, he's coming to town next week, and I'd like you to be my guest. And on that day, my life changed forever. February 3rd, 2002, I heard a man speak about this kind of a business. I've never heard anybody speak like him before in my life. And you know, the one thing that got me, and the reason why I always share my story with people is because I want to kind of pull you into what I've experienced. He said on that stage that day, he said, I didn't get into this business to make money. I was making plenty of money when I got involved with this kind of business. He goes, I got into this business for one word: freedom. Freedom. Freedom to be able to wake up and do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. Freedom. And when I heard that man say those words, I looked around the room and thought to myself, I want that too. I want freedom. I'm tired of working. At the time, I was tired of working for other people and making just enough money to pay my bills, my rent, my garbage car bill. I was sick of it. I'm sick and tired of just having enough money just to get by. I wanted something more. And he talked about how this industry can change your life and how it changed his life. Now, that man made over $100 million. I'm going to tell you guys why. He finally, at one point in his career, found the right company at the right time with the right product. And he went to work. And he worked his tail off. And when I met him, he was 62 years old. He hadn't worked in over 10 years. And he had all the freedom to be able to do anything he wanted to do whenever he wanted to do it. And I looked at him, and I don't know about all of you, but I'm the kind of person that sizes people up. I saw Raina get on here earlier in the last Zoom. She was further away in a big white parka. Turns out her house is cold right now. And I size people up. She was very small in the last video. Now she's getting a little bit bigger, and she's obviously a little bit warmer. But I size people up. I look at people that are successful in this world, and I hope you're like me, and I say, what does she got that I don't have? What does Dr. Klein have that I don't have? What does Trey got that I don't have? What does Amanda have that I don't have? And you know what? If you're competitive like me, my answer is always nothing. Nobody's got anything on me, and nobody has anything on you. We all have the same opportunities in life. Whether or not we succeed, build a massive business, create financial freedom, that's all up to us. And you know what? There's no excuse in the world that's going to justify whether or not you made it or didn't make it. It's as simple as that. So I got into this profession, and I had a man I was looking up to, but he wasn't my mentor yet. I heard him speak one time. We sat down for 4 hours that day. I broke open a journal like Trey, and every word that came out of his mouth, I wrote down in my journal. Why? Because this was a man who had been there, done it, made it, had all the t-shirts, all the awards, all the accolades, all the houses, cars, planes, boats, yachts. He had it all. And I figured if I'm going to learn how to do this business, I want to work with the best. Forget about the rest. That should be your attitude in life. You should always want to learn from the best. Find the best to work with. Don't work with anybody else. Forget the rest. So I studied this man that day and that afternoon. And then 3 months later, something magical happened for me, which hopefully will become magical for you. 3 months later, I manifested me and that man being in a relationship together and business together. And I introduced him to a company that I had discovered in my backyard in Vegas, a streaming video company like what you're all looking at here today, Zoom. We're doing video communication. I was one of the first people in the world to do streaming video. A lot of you are too young to remember the beginning of that revolution. But when computers started to stream video, I happened to be at the right place at the right time with the right company that was working on that stuff. And what did I do? I told the owner of the company when I met him 3 months ago, I met this man named Richard Call. He goes, "You met Richard Call." And to my surprise, I said, "You know who he is?" He goes, "Of course I know who he is. He's like the Michael Jordan of this industry." I said, "Exactly." He said, "I don't believe you." I said, "Okay, you're challenging me. That's not a smart thing to do, but okay." I got on the phone with Richard's best friend, Jerry, within seconds. I said, "Jerry," the guy who I met with the mansion in Vegas, I said, "Jerry, I've got something to share with you." "Michael, what are you doing?" My old Italian guy, raspy voice. "Michael, what are you doing?" I go, "Jerry, listen, we need to call Richard." "Call Richard. What are you Richard's retired. He's on his yacht in Boca Raton. What are you talking about?" I go, "Richard," I go, "Jerry, we got to show Richard this." So write this in your notes. Think of the most successful people you know to bring this to. Don't wait to get it to them. I don't care how young you are. If you don't know the most successful people, find out who they are in Salt Lake, Wyoming, and get this in front of them. Because I was bold enough to make a phone call to a man I met one time who spoke on stage in front of hundreds of people, who I had the pleasure to sit down next to him at a local restaurant for 4 hours and pop open a journal and write down every word he said. Because I was brave enough and I had the courage to call him, my whole life changed. He came down to look at that company and he ended up buying the company. I thought he was going to sign up in my organization. You guys can only imagine if you sign up someone really good in this kind of business and they do well, so do you. Well, it backfired on me. He liked what I showed him so much, he wrote a check for $500,000 right under my nose and he bought the company. And he called me that night. I called him that night, actually. I said, "Richard, I'm kind of confused. What just happened?" "Michael, I'm now the new chairman of the board of this company." I said, "Yeah. And I introduced you to these guys. Like, what is that? Does that get me anything?" And he looked at me, he said to me, or he laughed. He goes, "You thought you were going to sign me up, didn't you?" And I go, "Yeah." And he said, "Michael, Michael, Michael." He said, "Let me ask you a question." So what's that? He said, "How would you like a mentor?" I said, "I'd love a mentor." He said, "I'd like to mentor you." But he said this to me, and I was a young kid, just like some of you on the screen. He said, "You're a little rough around the edges." He said, "But I like you. And I appreciate what you did for the future of this company because I'm the right guy to run this company. Let me teach you how to do everything I know how to do." So he did. And for 6 years, I had the greatest mentor that anybody in the world could ever ask for. And in 6 years, I made him extremely proud. We ended up rolling up our sleeves and building that company, and he taught me what to do. And I went out there and did everything he taught me to do, all the things I want to share with all of you. We're not going to do this all in one Zoom tonight. This is going to take you all plugging into our ZTEAM system and learning from the great mentors that we have here on this team. I've been able to mentor many of the people on this team who are killing it right now with this company. All people that, just like you can do it too. And I was very fortunate to learn from the best, and I passed it on to the team leaders that are here with ZTEAM, and they're crushing this thing right now, and you guys are crushing it as well. So I only hope to share some things with you all for the rest of our time together, the next half an hour, that will help you get your team kick-started. I want to start with my story because I don't know how to do this any other way. I don't know how to teach this any other way than by sharing my story. I went out there and I started to do what he taught me to do. And next thing you know, I had 30 people on my team, and then 100 people on my team, and then 200 people on my team, and then 500 people on my team, and then 1,000 people, and then it was 2,000, and then it was 4,000, it was 6,000, it was 10,000. And over the course of that 12 months, we put 13,000 people in a network, and my life has never been the same. And what he taught me was priceless, just so you all know. Priceless. So I've made millions in this profession, and I don't say that to brag or boast to any of you on the screen. I've also spent those millions. I don't say that to brag or boast to any of you on the screen, but I know what it is to be wildly successful in a business like this. And that's why I'm so honored and just grateful to be in a position to be on the ground floor of another company that I think is going to go to the moon. And I think you do too, or you probably wouldn't be here with me today. Am I right? So I'm honored to be sharing this with all of you. I don't take this lightly. Mentorship is a very, very important role in everyone's business career in their life. I'm sure you all know that. And if I have a chance to be a mentor to some of you or just one of you on the screen to help you change your whole entire future, then that's what I want to be. If I can share one thing every time we're together that helps you understand this business, then that's what I want to do. So let me start out with the best lesson I can teach you, that if I didn't have this lesson, I would have never been here today with all of you. My mentor told me in the beginning, he said, Michael, there are no secrets. So I'm going to say that back to all of you tonight. I shared my story and I'm going to tell you this is work. It's called network marketing, not work marketing. There's a big difference. You have to work. In everything in life, you have to work. Would you all agree? You got to work. Success is not a mystery. As a matter of fact, the secrets to success are all around. If there are secrets, they're all around us. But he told me, I said, Richard, what's the secret to this business? And he laughed at me the first day I met him. And he said, Michael, there are no secrets. And when I first met him, I didn't know if I was ever going to get a chance to spend another minute with him again. So I looked at him as sincerely as I could. And I said, sir, you've got to tell me something. And he gave me this, and I'll give it to all of you. He said, sign up, don't quit. That was it. And then he followed that up by saying, I've met guys like you before. At the time, the 20-year-old, 29-year-old version of me, or however old I was, in the best shape of my life. I mean, I just told you guys, I was an actor. I was a fitness model. I was a NFL football player. I just did crazy things. And anyone who met me is like, oh my God, do you really do all those things? I was like, yeah, I can't believe it too. It's amazing. And he said to me, I've met guys like you before. You got everything going, don't you? He goes, but the moment you get into a business like this and somebody says, boo, you come home to your father. Now, you're not going to have that problem because dad's on the screen, but you come home to your mom or dad like I did to my mom and she, oh, Michael, that's one of those pyramids. Give the kit back. I listened to my mom. It's what we did. Well, maybe not what you all do, but it's what I did when I was 18. If my mom said something, I believed it was true. I just did what she said. I always say, thank God my mom was so much of an entrepreneur when I was 18 that she stopped me from making a big mistake. I'm saying that jokingly. My mother didn't know entrepreneurship. My mother didn't know anything about residual income or networking or the power of leverage and building a team of people around a great product or service. The people that I hung around with back in Buffalo thought these were pyramid schemes. They were so wrong. Oh, were they so wrong? And then I finally had a chance to meet these people that were wildly successful, and they weren't in jail. They weren't locked up. They weren't doing anything illegally. And they had lifestyles like you wouldn't believe. Imagine going on vacation January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I was meeting people that go on vacation right now. They say, let's go to Hawaii. They go to Hawaii, where most people go to Hawaii. We got to save for 2 years, right? So he told me, sign up and don't quit. And he said, every time you want to quit, I want you to do me a favor. He said, call me. Well, needless to say, guys, I called him a lot. I talked to him every day, but there were days when I was so frustrated with the business, I would have a meeting and invite people and nobody showed. And I called Richard. I'm like, Richard, nobody showed up to the meeting. This sucks. I hate this. Michael. Don't worry about that. Do it again. Invite more people, talk to more people. Keep doing meetings every single week in your hometown. Gather your team once a week for a home meeting. Gather them once a week for a little teaching session. I'll help you all. You all put the system in place in Wyoming and Salt Lake, and you do a once a week presentation. You want to build locally with a once a week training, bring me on the screen. I'll do what I'm doing here for you, and I'll make time to help the team grow as best I can with the time that I have. And I consistently did what he asked me to do. And before you knew it, boom, I started to make 5,000 a month, 7,000 a month, 12,000 a month, 20. I'll never forget the month I made 25,000 a month, August 2005, 25,000. And then by the end of that year, it went to 58,000. And then come the turn of that next year, 2006, 107,000. Could you guys imagine making $107,000 in 1 month? There anybody on the screen that would like that or no? I see you all talking amongst yourself. Yeah. That was just the tip of the iceberg, just so you know. Unfortunately, my story with that company stopped right there at 107,000. The company went down. You guys heard of a little company called YouTube before? Anybody? They came in and they took streaming video to the next level. And guess what? Every time I log into YouTube, I want to puke because I was a part of YouTube before it was YouTube. I was a part of Skype before it was Skype. I was a part of Zoom before it was Zoom. I'm natural on these video screens. You know why? I've been doing this for 20 freaking years now. I was a pioneer in the streaming video world. I pioneered this technology where I used to say back then, 20 years ago, do you guys know what it's going to be like one day when all you have to do in business is just get people to sit in their own living room and pile on a screen and be able to communicate like this? Oh man, I saw the vision of this before this ever happened. And I was this close to being with the company that became the multi-billion-dollar company. Unfortunately, our company went south and YouTube went north, and the rest, as they say, is history. But what I learned along the way was invaluable. And I learned the power of building a network of people. So let me give you a couple nuggets that I think y'all can take with you and run with it. Number one, nothing replaces being together in person. Nothing. As powerful as this technology is tonight, because quite frankly, I couldn't fly to Salt Lake and Wyoming at the same time and be here with all of you. This tool we have is invaluable. It's invaluable. As a matter of fact, I think so many people downplay how unbelievable it is that I can be with all of you tonight in one room. I think this is, maybe some of the younger people on the screen are like, this guy must be older because we've been doing this since I get it. But I grew up at a time where we didn't have these. I grew up at a time where we used to gather around the kitchen table without a cell phone to look at. And family and friends. Technologies here, people don't fully understand the magnitude or the power of having a streaming video tool like Zoom. It's unbelievable. But I will tell you, there's high tech and then there's high touch. And nothing replaces being together and shaking hands and hugging around the holidays. There's nothing better than that. I always use this analogy. Have you ever tried online dating? Like really online dating? And this is as close as you can get to the person you're dating? Yeah, it's not all that it's cracked up to be. I try and kiss someone through a webcam. It's not that much fun. It's actually really ridiculous. Now, maybe some people are into that. It's not my thing. I actually like the person right next to me. I like to hold hands. I like to go out to dinner. I like to be romantic. It's real hard to be romantic on a video screen. So we use these tools on a daily basis to get the word out across the country, across the world, state to state. But when you want to really enjoy this business, you build it locally. Build it in Wyoming. Build it in Salt Lake City. Gather people together. How great would this be if I had 20 people in my living room, Seth had 25 people in his living room, Raina had 10 people at her house, Trey had 25 people ahead, and we did a meeting with 500 people, but everyone filled up their house at the same time as jumped on a Zoom. Now, how would that business grow? Like you wouldn't believe. Because nothing will ever replace, no matter how technical our world gets, nothing's ever going to replace real live relationships. And that's the glue to your business, by the way. It's the glue. You high tech, we do this stuff with each other. And then Raina, and when your team gets enough people in Salt Lake City, you ask someone like my amazing business partner, Colette Daniels, to fly to Salt Lake City, be the best thing you ever do for your business. And Colette flies to your city and she gets in front of the room and she meets everyone and hugs and shakes hands and you have a meeting and then people sign up and then you go out for something to eat and you enjoy each other's company and then it really becomes real. And that's the kind of business that we have here. And it might be something that you all, the younger people on the screen are going to tell them, Mike, I don't know if that's going to work. Trust me, it'll work. Nobody can tell me it ain't going to work. It's been tried and true way before this technology stuff. You can try and build it all online, but I'm going to tell you one of the things you're going to miss out on in this kind of business. You're going to miss out on the real relationships and the real friendships. When we finally meet at our next event, I think it's going to be down in Texas. I hope the Finches and this whole entire team blow up. I'll support you. I'll do anything I can to help you. I know Colette will do anything she can to help you and teach you. I know the Z team has a system in place that is bulletproof right now. We'll help you. but we all get to meet down in Texas come the end of 2024. And there's not 20 or 30 on the team. There's 200 to 300, or maybe 2,000 to 3,000, or maybe 20 to 30,000 by then. And then we get to see each other. There's Raina, there's Sad, there's Trey, there's Dad. I see Dad, what's going on? And now it all comes together, right? So I'm going to take just a little break. I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to throw it over to Trey real quick because I know he had an agenda or an idea of what we were going to talk about tonight. And Trey, if there's anything that you want me to answer, any questions you have, if you guys are stuck on something that doesn't make sense to you, fire away.
All right, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I was just wondering if you had any books that would be good for entrepreneurs to read, really get a better understanding or an idea of what we should do.
Absolutely. Yep. Write these down, guys. The books are what changed my life. First of all, the mentor changed my life because he taught me everything he knew. But you know, the first things he told me, Trey, the first time my mentor said to me, Michael, I'll work with you. I'll teach you. Do you want to do that? And I said, yes, sir. He goes, are you serious? I said, yeah, I'm dead serious. He goes, good. Be at my house Saturday morning, 10 a.m. He goes, be at my front door at 9:55, not 10 o'clock, not 10:05. Be at my front door at 9:55. He said, Michael, if you're 1 minute late, get back in your car and go home. I'd never heard someone talk to me like that, but I'm so glad he did. He set the tone with me. He said, this relationship's going to go the way I want it to go, not the way you want it to go. He goes, I'm going to teach you the meaning of a real business with real business partners and a big business. He goes, people in business show up early. And he said to me, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, do me a favor. Go back home and tell me when you're ready to get serious with the business. Here's what else he told me. And this was a Thursday, Trey. He said, I need you to read 2 books before you get to my house. And I go, 2 books? 2 books. I hope these are children's books is what I was thinking. He goes, I need you to read 2 books or don't come to my house. I got to tell you guys, I never read 2 books in my life. Hand to heart. At that time in my life, I never read 2 books cover to cover in my life. He said, I need you to read Think and Grow Rich by Dr. Napoleon Hill. And I need you to read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. He said, those 2 books are still in my nightstand 30 plus years later. Every night before I go to bed, I read at least 1 sentence from each book. And I said, okay. I go, where do I get these books? He goes, go to Barnes and Noble, go to Borders bookstore. I don't know if those things still exist. I went to the local bookstore that night. I read 2 books in less than 72 hours. I showed up at his house 5 minutes early. We sat in his basement of his unbelievable home, that 12,000 square foot home with a racquetball court on the bottom floor. I'd never seen anything like this in my life. The guy lived on the 16th hole of one of the best golf courses in Las Vegas, Nevada. He had another home there. And he started to just do what I'm doing with all of you. He started to share his story. He started to talk about his experiences, started to tell where he had been in life. And it was through his stories that I learned how to build the business. He asked me questions about the books to find out if I read them. And I had the answers. And I couldn't put those 2 books down, just so you know. When I first opened up the first page of Think and Grow Rich, I barreled right through that book. That book to me is one of the greatest books in the world. Your thoughts are things. What you think about, you bring about. Anything the mind of a man or woman can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Anything you think about, you can conceive and achieve. You can make it happen. You can manifest it. You got to understand the truth to the quote in that book that is the underlining tone of the whole entire book. Thoughts. Think and grow rich. Your thinking can change everything. I started to learn the principles of that book, and I didn't just read that book once, Trey. I've read that book probably every year for the past 20 some years. Hand to heart. I've got it on audible.com. You guys have audible.com? Do you guys listen to audiobooks? I'm not against, it's my son, by the way, that's Anzio. He's a champion. He wears a little championship ring. But listen to Audible when you're in the car. Turn your car into a mobile university. Start filling your mind with the things that are going to turn you into the person that you one day would like to become. It's just like anything. Whatever you feed your mind is what it's going to become. If you feed it good things and positive things, you're going to become a result of those good and positive things. That book is timeless. And I promise you, it won't steer you wrong. The principles in that book, if you let me become your mentor, and if you plug into the Z team, you're going to get this all the time. Everything I teach is from the books and the things that I've read. I've plagiarized with the best of them. I've taken all the best of the best from the greatest books that are out there, and I've simply retaught what they taught me. The second book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, sounds like a really cheesy name for a book. Oh my God, this guy wants me to read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Is there anybody on the screen right now that wouldn't like to improve in areas of their life, any area of your life? Are any of you focused on being the best friend, the best sister, the best brother, the best father? Is anybody here concerned about being someone who everyone in your life enjoys being around? Does that matter to anybody on the screen? Write this in your notes. The difference between what you earn these next 12 months versus what you've earned the last 12 months is one thing. It's your personal and professional growth. Simple as that. I started to get hungry to be a better person. I'll share a quick story with you. My mentor has me read Think and Grow Rich. And there's a story in the book where he talks about taking two of his friends out to dinner that never met before. And as the conversation started to unfold and he was introducing them for business reasons, one of his friends was an expert in Shakespeare and the other friend was an expert in the Bible. And a quote came up about where this quote came from. And they argued, these two new friends that were meeting that Dale Carnegie connected them to. And these guys started to argue back and forth. Well, Dale kicked his one friend under the table. You know how you kick somebody in the shin under the table because you want him to shut up? And he kicked his friend in the shin, as the story goes. And the friend stopped arguing. And after dinner, Dale said to him, he goes, "Hey, listen, I know you were right, but making my other friend wrong when we're trying to build a relationship is not going to win him over. It's okay to let the other people win, right? It's okay to let the other person be right. But the worst thing you can do is create any type of banter when I'm trying to create a business relationship here." And here's the quote that I took from the book, and I'll give it to you now before you get the book, but it changed my life. "A person convinced of his own will is of the same opinion still." A person convinced against his own will is of the same opinion still. Let's say your favorite team is the Buffalo Bills, like me. And my other friend's favorite team is the Dallas Cowboys. I'm never going to get him to want to be a Bills fan. I'm never going to be a Cowboys fan. There's no reason to argue about who's right, who's wrong, whose team is better. So here's what happened in my life. There's a great lesson from this one book. And it changed my relationship with one of my favorite people on the planet, my grandmother. You see, when you're from an Italian family like me, one of the things that's part of your family is arguing. I can argue with the best of them, just so you know. And my whole life, family parties, none of you would ever want to go to one of my family parties. It's the loudest experience of your life. You'd walk into one of my family parties with earplugs on. You wouldn't be able to take the noise. I'm loud, I know that. Me and my grandmother had the best relationship. I lived with her while I was going to college. She followed my whole college football career. She was Michael's biggest fan. She used to sit on the couch and listen to the games on the radio, and I'd come home and she'd have dinner ready for me, and she'd be so proud if I scored a touchdown or if I had a 60 or a 70-yard punt, and she was my biggest fan. But man, me and my grandmother would argue all the time. And then I left Buffalo, pursued football, acting, music, didn't succeed the way I wanted to, got into network marketing, started reading this book I'm telling you about. First person I thought about that I would benefit from the information in this book was my grandmother. And I remember my relationship was different with my grandmother. I remember talking to her, and when she would start to argue, I just, you know what, Graham, you're probably right. I go, you know what, that's an interesting point. Where the old Michael would have fought tooth and nail to prove that she was wrong. The new Michael, based on this new stuff I was learning from these unbelievable books that nobody told me about at a younger age, which I wish they would have, I'm like, holy cow, this is changing everything for me. My grandmother went around for the rest of her life, which was only a handful of years more. She'd say, that Michael Zappia is a pleasure to talk to. And I want to tell you, if you guys knew me and my grandma's relationship, I was not a pleasure. That little brat, that little stinker, she tried to stick soap down my mouth when I'd swear when I was younger, like my grandmother, and I had some battles. But when I started to learn all this new stuff, it changed my life. It made me a better person. Your success in Transact card begins and ends with you changing the person that you are today and becoming a better version of you. Trust me when I tell you. The people you meet, the relationships you're going to experience over these years at the start of this new career. And God bless this company. I hope this company becomes a multi-billion-dollar company. And I hope those of us on the screen build a network where we're all financially free. I heard you can make $2 million a month. I think that's plenty for each and every one of us. I think it's a little extravagant, but I would like to experience it for myself to find out how extravagant that is. But I heard that we can do really well with this company. It'd be great if all of us were making 10, 20, 30, $50,000 a month or more, right? We have that opportunity because we're to the party first. And should this company go 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you'll look back one day and you'll look at moments like this and say, holy cow, we were in the beginning. What did we do? And I hope what you do is you work hard on you. I hope what you do is take that serious. Trey, if you're serious about this, go get that book, Think and Grow Rich. Go get How to Win Friends and Influence People. Start a study group amongst yourselves. It's not corny. It's not cheesy. One person read a page, the other person read the next page, and learn from the information in that book. Did you know the book Think and Grow Rich has created more millionaires than any book in the history of the world? One book has been edified as the reason why more men and women have become multi-millionaires. You think maybe we should read it? I think so. And I don't care how old you are. I don't care if someone's in their 60s or 70s. If they've never been exposed to this kind of mentorship and training and teaching, get the darn book. That guy over at KFC, Colonel Sanders, whatever his name is, he didn't start his empire until he was in his late 60s. KFC didn't happen until that guy was in the twilight of his life and his career. And wouldn't you like to own KFC? So yes, Trey. So write this down. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Number 3, The Greatest Secret in the World by Og Mandino. OGMANDINO. The Greatest Secret in the World. Oh my God. This book changed my life. It changed my life. And I don't say that with enough exaggeration or enough energy. Like I am downplaying how much the book changed my life. It changed my life to the point where it penetrated my subconscious mind, where there are times in my life throughout my days where I don't even think anymore. I just hear the words pouring out of my brain. There's one of the chapters in the book that says, I will persist until I succeed. I will persist until I succeed. In the Orient, young bulls are trained for the fight arena. And each of them is trained to charge on in spite of the sting of the blade. And talking about bulls in the arena when the matadors are hitting them with the picador, right? And they talk about how bulls are trained to be able to charge on in spite of how much pain that blade gives them. And this scroll in this book, The Greatest Secret in the World, I challenge all of you to look it up tonight. Look up the scroll in the book, The Greatest Secret in the World by Og Mandino, that talks about persistence. It's 2 or 3 pages. And if you read the story, you're like, Right now, I'm in the car business. Had a heart attack a year ago. Was not involved with a company like this at the time. Had to figure out how to get back on my feet. So I chose to get in the car business. And crushing the car business right now. Crushing it. I've sold almost 300 cars in 10 months. Never been in the business before. Didn't know one person in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Not one. And today, I'm basically the #1 salesperson at a dealership And I didn't know any of these people or anyone in the whole city 10 months ago. I don't say that to brag to all of you. You know, one of the things I do, I take from that book every night. I don't leave until I make one more stab at it, one more attempt at selling a car, meet one more customer, take one more phone call, get on one more internet lead, send one more email. I keep going and going and going. Why do I keep going? The greatest secret in the world. The book changed my life. Changed my life. The author of that book, the words are so beautiful, and they're now a part of me. The second scroll is all about love. Incredible, incredible, incredible book. Another book for you all, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Woo! Man, this one will blow your mind. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The difference between someone successful and someone unsuccessful boils down to one thing: their habits. Habits. We're habitual people. But when you start to create what I call billionaire habits, then you create the billionaire mindset around those habits. Success is automatic, just so you know. Hard for you to believe, but it becomes automatic. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Another great book for you, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Everything I do, everything I teach, everything I say is based around the things that I learned 21 years ago when someone first got into this industry and said, Michael, I won't even meet with you if you don't read these 2 books. And you know why he said that to me? I needed to have a foundation to be on a similar page with him. I needed to be on a similar wavelength with him. And if I, at that age, 28 or 29, I got to really get my date down, what age, if I couldn't be on his wavelength, he was 62, he didn't want to raise a baby. He didn't want to burp me and change my diaper. He's like, Michael, do me a favor. If you want to really, really learn from me, I need to know you're willing to do some work that you would probably never do unless someone told you, hey, I'm only going to work with you if you do these things. And that was the beginning of him and I being able to see eye to eye. And then every single thing he told me to do, I did it. You know why? He said, Michael, everything I ask you to do, you must do it. He said, and if you don't do it, I'll still love you. You'll still be a friend of mine, but I won't work with you. And you know why he said that to me? He said it because he knew that if I did what he did, I would get where he got. And if I thought I could figure it out on my own, then what the heck was I coming to him in the first place? I didn't have 10, 20 mentors, just so you all know. I had one. I listened to one man who taught me everything he knew. And I'm grateful that I didn't start listening to all these other voices, because you can get really confused when you start listening to too many people about what you should be doing. It was incredible. So yeah, there's a handful of books for you. There's one more for you. Your First Year in Network Marketing. Your first year in network marketing, because for many of you on the screen, this is your first year in network marketing. And I'm going to read something to you really quickly. The acknowledgments from the book, Your First Year in Network Marketing by Mark Yarnell. In the book, there's acknowledgments in the book where in the beginning of the book, the author of the book, Mark Yarnell, thanks his mentor. One second, guys. Going to the PDF, the free download, just so you guys know. Look at that. There's a free download. You don't have to buy the book if you don't want to. Unbelievable. This one just says a summary. I'm just going to tell you because I remember exactly what it said. He said, many, many thanks to Mr. Richard Call for being undoubtedly the finest mentor and upline anyone in network marketing could ever have. The man who wrote the book was mentored by the same man who mentored me and mentored thousands and thousands of other people in this profession. So it's exciting to know that one of the greatest books ever written in the network marketing industry was written by a man who was mentored by the same mentor who mentored me. So that book will hit home with you. A lot of that stuff in the book, people will read it and say it's outdated. I'm going to tell you, no, it's not. Not one thing is outdated, because we just got to learn how to adapt and adopt to a high-tech world and a high-touch world. That book was written during a time where you didn't have a choice but to build it locally in your backyard. You will rob yourself of the opportunity to experience life's greatest gifts in this industry if you don't build it locally in your backyard while leveraging technology like an animal to reach more people than you could have ever reached before. That's the beauty of this stuff. So, guys, it's about 9:34. I don't want to overstay my welcome here this evening with all of you. I hope that something I've shared with you today helps you. I always wonder when it comes to the younger generation whether or not we speak the same language, but I've been reminded many, many times by meeting some pretty exceptional younger people that have followed some of the things that I've taught over the years, that this stuff still rings loud, it still rings true, and it can still help you. So anyway, with that, I'm going to take a step back right now. Trey, is there any other questions? Anybody else have anything they want to throw at me?
No, no questions here. Does anyone else have any questions? No, well, we appreciate you talking with us today. Definitely learned a lot from this, and I'm gonna go check out some of those books. But thank you again for meeting with us. Look forward. Yeah, definitely looking forward to the next time we are able to talk.
Yeah, let's meet again. Let's do this. Let's do this for often for a little while together, just as a group of people that are learning and growing together until you guys take off with this thing where you don't need it anymore. You're just off and running on your own. I want to share one last thing, but there might be a question coming in. Oz, you have a question?
Yeah, I got a quick question. Just if anything, would I be able to get your email or phone number just to
Yeah,
contact you and just get more one-on-one contact with you?
yeah, you can all take my number down. 702, area code 702
Mm-hmm.
927 1191. So if you write it down, put it in your phone, shoot me a text message, type out your first and last name so that I can lock you in tonight before I go to bed. So whenever you reach out to me for whatever reason, I can know who you are and get right back to you. So 702, there's Oz right there, 927 1191. Very good. You guys are coachable. Yeah. You need help with Zooms or three-ways and stuff like that between myself and Colette. You text me. If I don't have time right when you need me, I'll find somebody to do the meeting for you. I'm connected to Aaron Whittier and to Brett Rinks and to John McKillop and all the top guys in the company. So if I can't support you because of schedule conflict, I'll find somebody who can help you if you need the help with a Zoom or a three-way or whatever you need.
I have one question.
Shoot.
So I know like fake it till you make it. But what is one trick to exuberate confidence when you're on the phone advocating for the product?
So Laura, I'm going to share one thing with you. Anytime someone said fake it till you make it to me, it never landed right with me. I don't like the expression. So
Same.
I want to get you to not fake it till you make it. Here's what I want you to understand. You don't have to fake anything. You need to come from a paradigm of be, do, have versus have, do, be. So write that down. Be, do, have. Write it on your paper. This is a good one to talk about what you're talking about here. Be, do, have. And the opposite of that is have, do, be. Now, a lot of people in life think that you need to have certain things in order to do things, in order to be who you say you are, right?
Right.
For instance, you're new to this. So you're like, I'm new. I better fake it till I make it. No. How about you just be who you are today, which is a leader in Transact Card? Now, whether you've enrolled somebody or not, I want you to look at yourself right now as a leader. You're going to become who you tell yourself you are. So be who you are right now. You don't have to be a rocket scientist and you don't have to know all the answers. You know why? Because the system is there to support you. As a matter of fact, you all are in the best place possible right now. When you don't know a lot, you only have so many things you're asked to do right now. Every one of you is asked to be a professional inviter. We're not asking you to be a presenter. So when you say, I need to be able to talk about Transact Card. No, you don't. You need to be able to invite someone to come hear about Transact Card. You need to be able to edify someone you're working with, like Amanda Finch, and get your prospect to that person. The best place to be is where you are in the beginning because you get to do less. You say less to more people, not more to less people. You know how I build my business? I just get on the phone, and when I finally get someone or I'm talking to someone, I say, you know what? I'm involved with something so unbelievable. I'm so excited. I can't even describe it. And I'm not even going to try to describe it. Let me ask you a question. I know this sounds crazy, but if I can put you in front of somebody who got me to take a good look at this and got me to see it for what it is, would you be open to meet that person? If I can get some information in front of you about what's got me so excited, and once again, I can't tell you about it. I just got started. But I know right now that if roles were reversed, you would share this with me. At least I hope you would you? I always say that to people. If you knew about something really exciting, would you share it with me? I would hope so. Good. That's why I'm sharing it with you. But in the beginning right now, none of you are asked to present this business, share this product, talk about the card. Matter of fact, I'll tell you, if you guys are finding yourself word vomiting on people, you're probably blowing it right now. If you're trying to be the presenter or the presentation, you're probably blowing it. You know who does the best presentation I've seen so far? Colette Daniels. Use her. Find out when she's going live on the corporate Zoom. Get a recording of her corporate Zoom. Aaron Whittier, another great one in the company. Get his corporate Zoom. And you could say to someone, hey, would you like to watch something together? And sit down and then put that video and let somebody else do it for you. And then when they ask you all these questions, say, I just got started. I don't have all the answers, but how do you feel about what you just saw? That looks really exciting. Listen, there's not a bunch of dumb people looking at me right now. We're pretty smart people. We all see what this can become, right? Other people are going to see what this can become. You don't have to twist their arm. You just have to figure out a way to get them in front of the information.
Right. And that's where I don't, so I have one person in mind and I've been kind of waiting.
Don't wait.
Because I've been trying to get off the rusty boots, but he's pretty famous, but he was one of my dad's dear friends, and I should just rip the Band-Aid off and give him a call.
You do it right after this Zoom. Yes. And I'm going to give you something to help you. You ready?
Okay.
I call it CHOG. Write these 4 letters down. CHOG. CHOG. It's an acronym I created years ago. So what's this person's name? First name? You don't tell me last name.
Big Lou from BB King Bluesville.
I don't know him, but he sounds cool.
Yeah, so he's the voice of Sirius XM radio for the Blues Channel.
Okay.
He was a dear friend of my dad. And so, I have his phone number. So I feel like since I have his number, I should reach out.
Reach out to him, touch base with him, first of all, and just engage him in a conversation. Hey, Big Lou, this is Laura Pavey. Is that right, Pavey?
Yeah.
Hey, Lou, this is Laura Pavey. How are you? Question mark. You want to get really crazy, Laura? Flip open your camera and make him a video. Hey, Big Lou, how you doing? It's Laura Pavey. I just want to say hello to you. If you got a minute, text me back. Let me know if you got this video. Okay?
Okay.
Put your face in front of his face. We got the tools to do it. When he gets back to you, say, this is going to sound crazy. C for crazy. CHOG, crazy. I happen to have found something, and all I've been thinking about is putting it in front of you. All I've been thinking about, and I've been so afraid to call you, Lou. And you know what? I'm not going to be afraid to call you because I think you would let me know about something like this. Do you have any time open? O is for open. Crazy, happen, open. I know this is going to sound crazy, Big Lou. I happen to have found something that is, You're the only person I thought about when I said, I want to get this in front of you. I don't even know if this is going to be for you, Lou, but I got to share this with you. This is incredible. Lou, do you have any openings in your schedule? Lou, do you keep your options open? Lou, you're an entrepreneur, right? Do you have any openings for me to share something with you? Yes or no? And then when he says yes, because he's going to say yes, because Big Lou sounds like that kind of guy, end it with G. Great, Lou. Give me your schedule. Let me know a couple times we can get on a call or a Zoom together. I really would like 5 minutes of your time. I won't take any more than that. Sounds like Big Lou's busy, right? Yeah? Crazy, happen, open, great. I can meet somebody at the line in the grocery store after this meeting. If I go get some food tonight and I meet somebody nice in the line and we strike up a conversation, they're wearing a Bills sweatshirt. Oh, you're a Bills fan? I'm from Bob. Well, you create conversations, right? Hey, Julie, you know what? I know this is going to sound crazy to you. You don't know me. We just met here in line. I happen to be involved with something that, quite frankly, if you knew about it, I hope as a stranger you'd tell me about it. Do you keep an open mind about businesses and things of that nature? Yes or no? If they say yes, I say, great. Can we exchange information? Now's not the right time. Let me shoot you a quick text. I'll follow up with you tomorrow. I think you're going to love what I have to share. Crazy, happen, open, great. I've been using it for years. I love it. You know why? Because if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, yeah, what is it? What do you got? I'm curious. I'm the type of person that if a little kid walked up to me at the grocery store and said, my mommy and daddy are involved with the greatest business in the world, I'd be like, oh yeah, where's your mommy and daddy? I want to meet them. Now, not everyone's like me. People are skeptical. You'll come across those people. But you know what? When people say no to me, it doesn't affect me. I actually feel bad for them if they're closed-minded. That's why I ask them, do you keep an open mind? I've had so many people say, nah, not really. And I go, you don't? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for your time. Whereas a lot of people, they don't keep an open mind. Who cares? Guys, all you got to do is find about 30 or 40 people that want to build Transact Card and look out, your life's going to change. My question for you is, if you knew 12 months from now, you could be making 20, 30, 50, 100 grand a month or more from this amazing business. And I'm telling you tonight, all you have to do is get about 30 or 40 people really serious with you and build a team the way that we teach you at ZTEAM, and you can be in a totally different financial situation a year from now. Are you going to go find those 30 or 40 people? No? Come on. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Right now, Colette Daniels and I enrolled about 40 or 50 people together. That's it. Those 40 or 50 people have led us to you, to amazing people that we get to partner with and mentor and teach and help and roll up our sleeves. Those 1,500 or 1,800 people on our team now, we're not really keeping track. She is, I'm not. It's going to be 10,000 people before you know it. And if I were this team on the screen right now, you should be thinking to yourself, when you get off of here and I'm not around anymore and you all do your own little gathering, say, let's show that guy that we're going to be about 50% of those 10,000 people. That's what I would do if I were you. Let's make sure our team is 5,000 when Zappia's team gets to 10,000. Now, don't compete with me. We're in business together here. But you should have a little competitive edge yourself saying, hey, when this company grows to $1 billion in sales, I want to at least be about 50 million of the billion. I don't think that's too greedy. We're in the beginning. You can think as big as you want. You know the good news? Most people are going to quit. You guys are like, what? That's not good news. No, the good news is most people are going to quit. And it's just going to be the few that stick around that are going to reap all the rewards and have the benefit down the road. Which one are you going to be? I always laugh when I get involved with a business like this. I look around the room when there's 500 people and I say, 95% of these people won't be here at the next convention. But guess what? The next convention, there'll be even more people. Those people who quit were replaced by the people who saw the vision and took it to the moon. I always said, I'm going to stick around the longest in this thing. We'll see who's going to be on the ride when it's over. Well, Joshua Keller, you got any questions, sir?
No, thanks. Obviously couldn't figure it out. No, no, man. You're nailing it. I love everything that you're putting out there, man. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on board, so
Good, good. I look forward to meeting you in person.
absolutely.
Yeah, I can feel your energy coming through the screen here. You're an intense guy, I can tell. I like it. I like
Back
it.
at you.
Hey, this ain't rocket science, guys.
No,
This
sir.
boils down to one thing. It's a numbers game. How many people are you willing to put in front of this thing? And then how good of a leader, how strong of a leader are you of keeping like Amanda, when I talk to you as the leader here, how strong are you willing to keep the team tight and together? I always do this with my hands. How tight are you? You guys are in the beginning of this thing with a team that's doing really, really well. But how tight you are is going to determine how well you stick together over these coming weeks, months, years. And if the team is like this, nothing can stop you. You know, two guys back to back in a fight, you by yourself, you don't stand a chance. Two guys, me and Seth back to back, odds are a little better. He's got my back, I got his back. Three, you put three powerful people together, a three-cord strand can't be broken. Now that's biblical, and I'm not afraid to share some Bible scripture with you. A three-cord strand can't be broken. Just remember that. Three, you put three together, can't be broken. By yourself, you don't have a chance. Back to back, odds are a little better, but you probably get the hell kicked out of you. Three of you together, you can't be stopped. Just remember, this business is about the power of three. Now you get the power of 30, forget about it. Create a mission together, all of you here. Create a vision. Where do we see ourselves a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Like, treat this like a real business, and it's going to pay you like a real business. The biggest mistake people make in this business is they treat it like small business. Well, it was only $495 to join. Guys, I just went Christmas shopping. I just spent almost $1,000 on my kid. I drop $1,000 like this. What's $1,000 mean to me? Nothing. Do I value the money? Yes. But $1,000, big deal. You all spend $495 on your franchise or Transact card. Big deal. It's only $500. I only wish I could get all of you to think to yourself, I've had to put 500,000 into this thing. Because if each of us had to put 500,000 into our franchise, I guarantee you we'd grow a much bigger team, don't you? If this cost you $500,000, would you take it more seriously? Yes or no? You know, the average franchise, McDonald's, Subway, you look at starting a franchise, okay? At least $500,000 to get started. Now, if you and I put in $500,000 each and we started a local McDonald's, you know what McDonald's makes us do? We got to go to school for 2 years first. We got to go to McDonald's Hamburger University for 2 years. We got to do everything the way that their system teaches you to do it. Otherwise, they take your franchise away from you and you lose your $500,000. You got to run McDonald's the way they want you to run McDonald's. Not only do you fork over the money, now you got to go to school to learn how to do it the way they teach you. And guess what? There's no such thing as an unsuccessful McDonald's. But what if all of us on the screen treated this like we put in a lot more than $500? Would we have a bigger team? Yeah. Some little paradigm shifts for you guys to think about when you're building this thing. If you have the opportunity to create the kind of residual income that even I've been able to create of $100,000 a month or more, man, there's no greater feeling in the world. And I'm praying that Transact card keeps this thing together long enough for those of us on the screen to build a massive business and be able to be financially free within 3 to 5 years. I'm praying. Because I've been around for 21 years and I've been with a lot of great success stories, but I haven't been with that one company. And I feel like somebody up there owes me something from all the hard work I've done. So this has got to be the one. To be your age on the screen here, to be Paxton's age or Joshua's age and Raina's age, man, I would trade places with you youngsters in a second right now. I'm 49. I'd give anything to be in my teens or 20s and come across something like this right now. Oh my God, what I would give to be a part of it. But guess what? You guys got a lot to learn right now. But don't let the learning slow you down, Laura. You don't need all the answers. You just need to know all the people with all the answers. And all you are, Laura, is a connector, a professional inviter. Don't worry about doing the presentation. Share this with enough people, Lauren. I guarantee the moment you're forced to do a presentation, you're going to kill it. Kill it. Because you've heard it so many times. You're like, all right, that little cute blonde Colette does a good job, but I'm going to show her. I'm going to do it even better. Every time she's presenting, grab your journals and write down all the things she's saying and what she's saying and how she's saying it. And learn the presentation, but it's not time to do it until you've got a big team of people asking you to help. Got it? Cool. I could go all night here, guys, but I want to let you take this in bite-sized pieces. We recorded this, recorded to the cloud. So I'll make sure Brian Howard gets this to all of you, the recording. If you got value from it, share it with your team. I promise you everything I'm sharing, I got from somebody else or I learned through experience. Everything I'm sharing with you is pure gold, pure gold. I don't know anyone that teaches the business the way that I do because I never met anyone who taught it the way my mentor did. And he was the best in the world. We got this.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You got it, guys. Have a great night.